rehabilitated, and real entertaining. This is the Carl Jackson Podcast.
Welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. On this Wednesday, we are your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Have you guys heard the latest on Steph Curry? Guys, I love Steph Curry. Haven't watched NBA in quite some time, but I love Steph Curry. But Steph Curry has jacked up. Steph Curry has lost his moral authority because he's gone woke. He's a full-fledged social justice warrior, if you will. But he's lost his moral authority to be able to speak out on policies, liberal policies, that are now impacting him. What's the story? What's the latest? Steph Curry. He bought a $30 million mansion. He and his wife, Aisha, a $30 million mansion. Where's this place? In a city called Atherton, California. And in this city, behind his $30 million mansion, over 17,000 square feet, this thing has an astronomical amount of bedrooms and bathrooms. Well, the city is building, or the city has decided to build, a low-income multi-family apartment unit in his backyard, so to speak. And Steph Curry and his wife are like, no, not in my backyard. But Steph Curry has messed up. See, what Steph Curry is proving now is that he's not woke. He's like the rest of us. But the problem is he's lost his moral authority to say, you know what? I worked my butt off to become a multi-millionaire. I bought this expensive mansion, and I don't want some low-income apartments near my place. See, I can say that. I haven't made it there. I can't afford a $30 million mansion, but if I could, that's what I would be saying, and I wouldn't feel guilty for saying it. But Steph Curry has to feel a little guilty. He has to feel a little crunchy because he is a social justice warrior, and in this case, he appears to be a hypocrite, a complete and utter hypocrite. This is the problem with leftism. This is the problem with liberalism. It doesn't work. Liberalism does not exist behind closed walls, at least not with thinking people. And that's exactly what's occurring with Steph Curry. That's exactly what's occurring with this guy. Constantly supporting left-wing agendas. But when it comes to his backyard, he doesn't want it. No. Not in my backyard. They even wrote a letter. The Currys are openly opposing this low-income multifamily unit to be built in their backyard, so to speak. They have major concerns, they said. Concerns of privacy, concerns of safety. Now, I get the privacy issue, no doubt about it. Again, I wouldn't begrudge Steph Curry if he was being honest with himself, if he was being honest with the rest of us. This is totally hypocritical. But this is the left. They want privacy. I get it. They want safety. What safety? What are you saying, Steph? Are you saying that because low-income apartments or low-income people might be living next to you, your neighborhood might not be as safe? What are you saying about poor people, Steph? What are you saying about these people that you proclaim that you're for? See, this is amazing to me. This is the problem with leftism. You can't be honest. And I really do think Steph Curry is a decent guy. I think he tries to do the right thing. I think he tries to be a good guy. From all indications, I believe he considers himself a Christian. But when you're on the left, you can't help but to be hypocritical if you're flying straight and narrow. You can't. Here's what they said in their letter. The Currys, again, this is from Breitbart. They don't want this stuff in their backyard again. And they say here, the pair claim that the construction project would endanger their kids when complete. So as Atherton residents, and I'm reading from their letter, I guess, from their letter to the city, we have been following along with the housing element updates with special interest in the 23 Oakwood property, it's called, the number 23 Oakwood property. This was a letter just as recently as January 18th. This wasn't long ago at all. We hesitate to add to the, quote, not in our backyard, unquote, literally rhetoric, but we wanted to send a note before today's meeting. Safety and safety and privacy for us and our kids continues to be our top priority and one of the biggest reasons we choose Atherton as home, or Atherton as home. Now, Steph, let me ask you this. I know that privacy and safety is of the utmost importance for you and your wife, your kids. I understand that. But when you support the policies that you support, is safety, is privacy, is it of the utmost importance for you to the people that are going to be impacted by the policies that you support, that you donate to? There's people in middle class neighborhoods that don't want to have low income apartment homes. And listen, I lived in them. It's not necessarily that people are bad. There's a lot of good people that live in low income apartments. I've done it a couple of times in my life, as a matter of fact. But you do tend to have people that will come around those low income apartment complexes that are going to live a more ghetto fabulous lifestyle. It's just the way that it is, because they don't have money. They can't afford a $30 million mansion. It's amazing to me. I want you to understand this. I've talked about this for years. There is no such thing as liberalism behind closed doors. You think liberals live what they preach? You think liberals believe in what they preach? You think John Kerry believes in all this climate change nonsense? Sometimes he fools me into thinking he does, but he doesn't live like that. Traveling around the world on his private jet. They don't live like that behind closed doors. They don't tell their kids to, be woke and to buy into this and buy in that. They don't tell all this stuff that they preach to us. They don't tell their kids. They tell their kids to fly straight, act right, get themselves together, go to school, get a good education, get a good career, get a family, have a family. They want to have grandkids, so on, etc. They want to be able to go to their beach house or out on their yacht. That's what they tell their kids. So the problem is, Steph isn't wrong in saying what he's saying. They're not wrong in writing this letter, except that he's being a hypocrite of doing it. So in that sense, he is wrong. He's lost his moral authority to be able to speak out against this apartment complex being built near his home. Now the city is being forced. Listen to this. Hattie Brightport. The city is being forced to consider affordable housing units in the ultra-rich neighborhood because new state laws are aimed at remaking communities and knocking down property values. The state wants to knock down property values by forcing communities to add affordable housing in new construction. So the local authority is gone. Local authorities have no say. This is the Comrade Gavin Newsom and the legislation in California. They are, it's just amazing to me when you think about these liberals. So Steph Curry was for social justice before social justice came to his backyard. That's a good way to put it. Steph Curry was for social justice until social justice came to his backyard. In 2021, Curry was seen bemoaning the racial wealth gap when he joined the woke nonprofit 90-0, literally spelled out, in 2021. At the time, Curry insisted, and I quote, "Bridging the racial wealth gap is one of the biggest challenges of our generation." He added that, and I quote, "Uncovering solutions and creating opportunities is something I'm profoundly committed to." Here's what Curry's letter said. Another part: "We kindly ask that the town adopts the new housing element without the inclusion of 23 oak wood. Should that not be sufficient for the state, we ask that the town commits to investing in considerably taller fencing and landscaping to block sight lines onto our family's property." I would want the same thing. I would want the same thing. But Steph Curry has lost his moral authority. The player spent years attacking President Trump in 2016 or 17. I'm sorry. Curry blasted his sponsor Under Armour and the CEO Kevin Plank, who described Trump as an asset, quote unquote. Curry responded by saying he would drop the ET, quote unquote. He also called Donald Trump a threat, quote unquote, to the nation. He's also been a left-wing activist for years. In 2022, he joined Michelle Obama's When We All Vote organization that was meant to bolster Democrat support or voting in elections. In 2021, he celebrated Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's election by sending Harris a Golden State Warriors jersey, and he and his wife also openly campaigned for Biden. But social justice has now come to Steph Curry's backyard, and he's done with social justice, at least when it comes to him. So listen, again, this is a guy that I like, but I'm going to tell you, when he speaks out about social justice nonsense, ignore him. Don't listen to him. He doesn't mean it. He's just proved it. He's just proved it. All right, moving on. Now, I want to talk about this. I haven't. Before I go on, I do want to make mention of this. So let me add on to this. Not speaking of Steph Curry, but what's happening in California and other blue cities, and even some state legislatures that might be Republican are going to try to attempt to do this. But you can see in California, they are mandating this. But this whole issue of rent control, this is a very important topic to cover. And I want to talk about it briefly. But before I do, guys, please remember to support our sponsors, MyPillow, Mike Lindell at MyPillow, providing fabulous pillows, a great night's rest, great sheets, mattress toppers, you name it, slippers, you name it. But right now, they have a sale specific to this show for their towels. All right, so you can get a 6-piece towel set for only $39.98. That comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, 2 washcloths. Again, 6-piece set, only $39.98. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, click on that radio listener square at the top of the page, enter my name, or give them a call at 800-858-0263. That's 800-858-0263. Their products come with a 10-year warranty, a 60-day money-back guarantee. You cannot beat that with a bat. And guys, I'm here to tell you, their towels, you will love them. I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. You're going to love these towels. They are the best towels. They actually absorb. They actually dry you when you get out of the shower. It's amazing how they feel. And honestly, I've had mine for quite some time. They have not lost their feel. That's what's so impressive as well. So give them a call, 800-858-0263. Tell them that Carl sent you. Use my promo code, or go online, mypillow.com. Use the promo code Carl. Also, don't forget about our new sponsors, 4 Patriots, the number 4patriots.com. You can use the promo code Carl there as well. You'll get 10% off of your first purchase, including a 3-month survival kit. You'll get a year-long guarantee plus free shipping on orders that are over $97. They're called 4 Patriots because a portion of every sale goes to charities that support veterans and their families. And guys, this isn't ordinary food. This is survival food in case of a natural disaster or God. Listen, inflation has hit us. There's threats of a looming recession. And from what I read today, the columns that I was reading today on this, they're not looking at like 2008 looking recession or even 2021. They're talking about 1970s Jimmy Carter style. All right. So just be prepared. One of the ways in which you can be prepared is going to 4 Patriots, the number 4patriots.com, and buying yourself a survival kit. Again, this food lasts for 25 years. It's hand-packed in a family-owned facility that employs 200 Americans. All right, so we love that. The kits are compact, they're sturdy, they're water-resistant, and they stack easily. They have different delicious breakfast meals, lunches, dinners that are ready in less than 20 minutes. All you have to do is add boiling water, simmer, and serve. That's 4patriots.com. Use the promo code Carl. Again, you'll get 10% off of your first purchase. All right. So now just real quick, let's talk about rent control, because essentially that's what's being imposed on this city, Atherton, California, that Steph Curry's in. And don't go anywhere. We got some. This latest stuff with Biden is just, it's insane. The guy cannot run away from it. All of this news keeps trickling out, it keeps on damaging Biden's brand. It's amazing. We got the latest on what's happening with Biden and classified documents. So we'll talk about that in just a second. Rent control is a disaster. That's what's happening to Steph Curry's neighborhood. And Steph Curry is a low information voter, unfortunately. Because again, it seems like a nice guy, but he's a low information voter. I suspect most NBA players are. All right. So he's a low information voter. He doesn't realize what's coming to his hood is rent control. Rent control is a complete and utter disaster. This is what clueless politicians do when they say they want to control the price of rent, when they want to make housing more affordable for everyone. The clear sign that a politician doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to rent, mortgages, housing, so on, etc., is when they say they want rent control. Rent control does the complete and utter opposite. Basically, what rent control does is the government imposes upon residential owners of properties, whether it's condominiums, apartments, or whether it's homes that are being rented out. The government will impose a ceiling of how high the rent can be, regardless of what the market demands. So let's say the market demands that a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment is $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800. The government comes in and say, no, I'm sorry, you can only rent that apartment out for $1,300 a month. What's going to happen? Because your goal is to create more housing and affordable housing for everyone. Everyone is going to bum rush that affordable housing. And then what's going to happen? There's not going to be any more housing, and it's going to cause rent. It's going to cause rent to skyrocket. It's going to have the total opposite effect, and it's going to cause a shortage of housing. No one's going to rent for extremely low prices when they can't afford to maintain their properties. This has the exact opposite effect. When you impose these ceilings that are below the market value, you do damage. Shortages are going to happen. Shortages will begin to surface, will begin to occur, because you have so many people trying to get into this area, to this jurisdiction. It's amazing. And then everywhere else around, prices will just skyrocket. It has a total opposite effect. It's amazing. Another unintended consequence. All right. And this is what Curry's legitimately worried about, but he lost his moral authority to speak out on it. When you have renters never respect. I shouldn't say never, but it is so rare. It's not even funny. I can tell you, as a person that's owns a landscape a company, that I've run into. The numbers are so low. It's not. I can only remember one that was actually renting a property that was that was willing to keep it up themselves. It is so rare. It's unbelievable. But for the most part, these people aren't incentivized to take care of the property. If something goes wrong, well, the owner will get it. The problem is when the rent is too low, the owner might not be able to afford to get it because you don't know the owner's financial circumstances. You just don't know. It's amazing. It's amazing. So this stuff just does damage. And that's what Curry is frustrated about. But the problem is, again, he's lost all moral authority to speak out on it. It's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. They're just going to boost demand artificially. Prices are going to skyrocket. Apartments aren't going to be kept up. It's just a bad deal altogether. Okay, so moving on. I want to talk about this real quick before I get to the Joe Biden thing. And I also want to talk about, I didn't talk about this the other day, and I wanted to, but these illegal aliens, illegal migrants that have come into the country and are demanding that they get to stay or remain in this nice New York City hotel. I want to get to that in just a second. But first, this Alec Baldwin story, I'll be honest with you, I haven't talked about it because I simply don't care. All right, I didn't care. My feeling on the Alec Baldwin situation was this stuff will play out on court. Again, you guys know my stance when it comes to high profile cases. I can't stand Alec Baldwin. I'll be the first to say it. There's times where I would see video of him and I would just say, Lord, forgive me, but just being real with you, God, won't somebody come up and crack that fool in the jaw? I just can't stand the guy. He is just nasty. He is just mean. I don't know whether or not this has played into the charges. I really don't. You never know people's motives. You really don't. But I got to tell you, John Lott, this was a couple of weeks back, but he wrote a column that I thought was fascinating. I just simply thought, listen, this stuff is going to blow over when it comes to Alec Baldwin. It had taken so long in order for them to, and they just officially, as of Tuesday, made the charges, manslaughter charges against him and the, I forget what you call the armorer official. All right. But I assumed that they weren't going anywhere. I was like, this is taking too long. Now, to my surprise, what I've heard is that they were really trying to build a solid case against Alec Baldwin. So the guy might be in legitimate danger of going to jail for some time, for at least 18 months. I'm not sure about this enhancement charge, if they're still following through with that. I'll have to double check into that. But the prosecutors are or have formally charged Alec Baldwin with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter on over the shooting of the cinematographer Halyna Hutchins, who was 42 years old, sadly. And obviously the movie that they were shooting was called Rust. For those of you that might remember, it was shot in New Mexico, and that's where the incident occurred. Each count carries a maximum sentence of the manslaughter sentences of 18 months in prison. But prosecutors have added a firearm enhancement that mandates 5 years behind bars. Now, this was an older article. I don't know if that's still true. I have to look into this, but I do want to make mention of what John Lott mentions. And John Lott, the Crime Research Prevention Center, is his website. He does all types of research on not just crime, the economy. The economy was really his bread and butter. Economics and stats in general. The guy is a stats guy, but obviously when he's got into gun research, he's been able to follow tons and tons and tons of cases. And the stat work that he does is just absolutely amazing. But he wrote a column for the Federalist on this, and he said Alec Baldwin lost any credible defense when he violated the first rule of gun safety. Well, what is the first rule of gun safety? The first rule of gun safety is you don't point a gun at something unless you intend to shoot it. And he said because of this first rule of gun safety, Alec Baldwin is really in trouble. Now, again, I don't like Alec Baldwin. I just wanted people to punch him in the face over the years. This happened, and listen, I don't want anybody to go to jail unnecessarily. I wanted it to be investigated. It appears as though they've done that, but the guy came out on TV. He started making some dumb excuses. He didn't pull the trigger. Guys, I own firearms. He pulled the trigger. Okay? That's one of the dumbest. I don't know why you would go on TV and say something so dumb. I didn't pull the trigger. You did it? You mean your pistol just stayed like right there and it just went off safely in your hands? Yeah. Even the dumbest person in the world knew that was too dumb. All right. So Baldwin didn't follow the basic gun safety when he shot his cinematographer Hutchins. So he says here, John Lott does, anyone who has been to a shooting range would have that drilled into them. And besides, did you know that Alec Baldwin, he belongs to this Actors Equity Association? It's a union, and they state the rules about using guns on their website. So he belongs to this Actors Equity Association union. Here's what it says. Here's what it says on their website. Treat all guns as if they are loaded and deadly. All right. Never point a firearm at anyone, including yourself. Always cheat the shot by aiming to the right or to the left of the target character, they say. All right. So this isn't a movie setting. Check the firearm every time you take possession of it. Guys. So at this point, okay, live ammunition may not be brought into the theater. So it does not matter. It does not matter if the armorer handed him the pistol. it doesn't eliminate his culpability. Based upon what this Actors Equity Association union teaches them, they have to check the firearm every time they take possession of it. So the armorer says this thing is unloaded. Alec, this gun is unloaded. Alec Baldwin has to take that firearm and say, are you sure this is unloaded? Let's double check this. I want to make sure it's unloaded. I want to make sure everything is okay. He didn't do that. So the first rule of gun safety is you don't point the gun at anything unless you intend to shoot it. Nothing. And he did just that. All of the excuses that he made are totally irrelevant. Blaming other people is totally irrelevant. Why? Because the first rule of gun safety is you don't point the gun at anyone unless you intend to shoot it. I mean, this is so simple. This is so simple, but it's so real. Matt Hutchins, he's the husband of Halyna Hutchins, who unfortunately passed away as a result of her wounds. He said, and I quote, "The idea that the person holding the gun and causing it to discharge is not responsible is absurd." And he's right. He's right. Baldwin may also, listen to this, Baldwin may also bear, as the executive producer of Rust, he may also bear the responsibility for 2 prior accidental gun discharges on the set. I forgot about that. So he's a producer. He had 2 other accidental gun discharges on the set. Why aren't you double, triple, quadruple checking that gun to make sure there's no live ammo? You know what I mean? A double check. Now, I will say this. I think it's possible if there were 2 accidental gun discharges on that set, I think it's possible that other people were using that gun on the set, possibly without the knowledge of the armorer. How do we know that somebody didn't bring weapons to plink? Plinking is just target shooting, playing around, shooting cans with it. You know, liberals like to preach about being anti-Second Amendment and all that good stuff, but you get them out on a set like that in the middle of the desert in New Mexico, they're probably out there plinking. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But who's to say? Who's to say? You know, you get a cap, a fake bullet. If it looks like a real bullet, who's to say? You know, it's sad, but ultimately, Alec Baldwin is responsible. So those are just some of the things that I wanted to make sure that I covered. Also, all right, so here's a couple of things that I'd like to close out with. And again, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, all right? Everywhere podcasts are found, guys. We could use your help growing the reach of this podcast. And to do so, all you have to do is subscribe to wherever the podcasts are. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Carl Jackson Show on YouTube. That is The Carl Jackson Show on YouTube. The same is true for Rumble. Rumble.com. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find us. Find us on all social media. Instagram, we'd really love to build up there. So Instagram, The Carl Jackson Show on Instagram. Twitter, I have a lot of fun on Twitter now. Twitter isn't as free as I would like, but it is a whole lot better than it used to be. So I have a lot of fun with Twitter. So please check me out on Twitter, The Carl Jackson Show. At Carl Jackson Show, rather. Getter, the same thing, and Facebook as well. All right, let me get to these couple of stories. So here's the latest with Joe Biden. Oh man, and there was some scandalous stuff with Hunter Biden too. You guys hear about this? Apparently, one of his assistants, he was, basically saying, "Hey, I'm gonna give you cash payment as long as you send me some new takes." Oh, I mean, the guy is just a disgusting human being. Yeah, he's just a disgusting human being. Where's the story that I'm looking for? Okay, so here it is. This is hat tip to Breitbart here. I'm sorry, I'm just scrolling through with my firmly fingerprinted fingertips. All right, report FBI conducted previously undisclosed search at the Penn Biden Center in November. All right, so this transparency thing that Biden pretends that he's for, he's not. We all know that he's a liar. We all know that he's completely and utterly corrupt. The question now is how fast can the left get rid of him? And I got to tell you, I go back and forth with this issue when it comes to getting rid of Biden, because the right thing to do, in my opinion, this guy should resign. He's a total and utter disgrace. He's completely and utterly corrupt, but he's also the president of the United States. So I know as long as his wife is around and his kids and his brothers are around to spit something in his ear or to whisper in his ear, they're going to encourage him not to resign, because I think all of them would probably be in some type of legal trouble. No doubt that Hunter would. No doubt that Joe Biden's brothers would. I'm not sure what involvement that Jill Biden may have, but I suspect she knew about a lot of this corruption that's going on. But the latest story is this. The FBI conducted a previously undisclosed search at the Penn Biden Center, and this occurred in November. Hat tip Breitbart. The FBI searched the Penn Biden Center in mid-November after Joe Biden's attorneys found documents with classified markings at the think tank earlier that month. This according to a report published Tuesday by CBS. The search by the FBI was conducted without the use of a warrant and in coordination with Biden. But whether the FBI uncovered any classified documents or other relevant materials from the search remains unknown, per CBS. So you remember that Biden's attorneys found some documents, classified documents, on the 2nd, and then they left it there. And then there were documents found at this location and this location at a later date. But they never said that the FBI went in to conduct a search themselves at the Penn Biden Center. They left that part out. They were concerned, obviously. They left that part out. Isn't that convenient? So I think you had searches on the 2nd. What was it? On the 2nd. The NARA confirmed it, I think, on the 4th or something to that effect. You had something that happened, a couple in December, a couple in January, and now we're learning about another search that occurred with the FBI closer to the original search that was never disclosed. So these people weren't being transparent at all. And this stuff it's caving in. This is starting to look really bad. I go back and forth in my mind again if this guy should resign, because and listen, I don't believe he will. All right. I don't think the guy is going to resign. I don't think he has any intentions of going anywhere. I've already stated the reasons why. He's going to try to stay there. His family is going to try to keep him in there. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. But those that say that Kamala Harris would be worse for the country, there's no doubt that Kamala Harris is horrible. It's horrible. She'd be a horrible president. But I think we have to start having a serious debate. This guy has secrets that are out there. He has secrets. His son has secrets that he sold. He's being influenced by foreign adversaries. We talked about that the other day. There's no doubt in my mind. He's being influenced by George Soros as well. There's no doubt in my mind. So the question is, how long do we let this go on? I mean, this is really getting scary. I don't think that Kamala Harris, as dumb as she is, I don't think that she's got tons of classified documents sitting around locations that we can find where she's or have her stepkid selling access to Kamala Harris. I don't think that's happening, but it is with Joe Biden. It has happened with Joe Biden, and God knows whether or not it continues to happen with Joe Biden, with his brothers, and with his son. It's absolutely scary. It's absolutely despicable what's happening. But that's something I don't know. I know that Kamala Harris would be bad. I know that she would be a disaster. But Joe Biden is a disaster. This guy is getting us into World War III. And I'm not necessarily arguing for Kamala. I'm just not so sure anymore that she would be worse than Joe Biden, because he's a disaster and he's corrupt as all get out. And there's no telling how much information our enemies have on us and our country and our secrets because of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the entire Biden corruption family. All right. So last story that I want to touch on real quick. This is these illegal migrants are refusing to leave this New York City hotel, and they're demanding taxpayers give them permanent homes. This again from Breitbart. Border crossers who arrived in New York City on buses from Texas are refusing to leave a luxury Manhattan hotel that city officials had placed them in Over the weekend, city officials sought to move the migrants out of the Watson Hotel in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood of Manhattan and to the Brooklyn Cruise Terminal, where Mayor Eric Adams has constructed a massive shelter for new arrivals. But they don't like that. They say that's not good enough. Many of the border crossers staying at the Watson Hotel, paid for by taxpayers, you and I, or actually by New York taxpayers, are refusing to leave. Well, no. We're all going to pay the price ultimately for these open borders. Are refusing to leave and have instead set up a homeless encampment outside the hotel. Good. There they are demanding the city, quote, cancel rent, close quote, and provide them with, quote, permanent homes, close quote. Permanent homes. See, this is the problem with illegal immigration. The illegal aliens are refusing to leave this nice, fancy hotel that's 2 blocks from Central Park. Miranda Devine of the New York Post reported. They're refusing to leave. And they should feel entitled, right? We told them, Biden did anyway, Biden administration, Mayorkas, so on, etc. They told them that they could break into this country. They told them that there's nothing special about this country, that we don't have a rule of law, that we don't have immigration laws in place, so that they should feel entitled to America because America is systemically racist. The only reason that America is as great as it is because we've raped and plundered the whole world for the entire world history. You know what I mean? So these people feel entitled. This is the problem when illegal immigrants never intend to become legal, all right? Legal citizens or residents of the United States or citizens of the United States. This is the problem with open borders. These people aren't going to assimilate. They don't want to assimilate. They want their stuff. This is America. They've been told that it's great. They didn't have to work for it. They didn't have to earn it. All they had to do is pay some drug cartels. And I know they had a dangerous trek here, but that's all they had to do. They didn't have to go through the court process like legal immigrants do. Wait for years, pay tens of thousands of dollars to become an American citizen. They didn't have to endure any of that. So they just feel entitled. They feel entitled, like welfare recipients. They just feel entitled. You owe me this. No, we don't owe you jack. But this is the way that they feel thanks to the Biden administration. Guys, this administration is a disaster. I'm going to be talking about the State of the Union. Again, I know Biden is going to give an address next week. But I'm going to be talking about the State of the Union. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. And all that you can do is make your community better. Vote for the right people, put the right people in place, get involved wherever you can get involved politically. Make sure you're doing the things, right by your family, right by your community, doing the things that make you a good citizen. Make sure you go to church. Make sure you get involved. We just got to become better believers, better citizens, better voters, better political activists. We've got to take this country back. We've got to take this country back. And I think that if we fight hard, I think that if we push back against the left, we can do it. And we need to do our best to repatriate a lot of these illegal migrants that have come into the country. We need to send as many of them back as possible. And I don't say that haphazardly. I don't say that to be flippant or hyperbolic either. It just has to happen. We can't have open borders like this. We can't have people coming into our country illegally and demanding resources from tax-paying Americans, citizens. We can't have it. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. All right, please be sure, again, to follow me on social media, like me on social media. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find me. Please, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, Facebook. I'm there. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Carl Jackson Show on YouTube, and get the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you go. Don't forget our sponsors. This show would not be possible, this podcast, without them. All right, so mypillow.com. Take advantage of their the deal that they have going for the 6-piece towel set. And frankly, anything that's available at mypillow.com. Use a promo code Carl. There's discounts up to 66% off if you use the promo code Carl. All right. So just browse the website, take a look, see what you want, and grab it. Maybe a birthday is coming up. Valentine's Day is coming up. Plenty of stuff there to purchase. All right. And then for Patriots, guys, you want to make sure that your family is safe and secure as far as food security is concerned. God forbid there's a natural disaster or something even worse. God forbid. Please go to 4patriots.com. That is the number 4patriots.com. Your first time purchase, you'll get 10% off if you use my name, the promo code Carl. They have a 3-month survival kit. You'll get a year-long guarantee on that, plus free shipping on orders that are over $97. Both of these companies, MyPillow.com, American Jobs, 4patriots.com, American Jobs that they're providing. They're hand-packed. These packets are, or these tubs, if you will, in a family-owned facility right here in the USA. Again, 200 American Jobs. The kits are compact, they're sturdy, they're water resistant, they stack easily. The meals are ready in less than 20 minutes. All you have to do is add boiling water, simmer, and serve. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, they've got it all. Again, 10% off of your first purchase. You'll get a year-long guarantee plus free shipping on orders that are over $97. They're doing magnificent things. They're called 4 Patriots because a portion of every sale goes to charities that is helping out veterans and their families. So 4patriots.com. It's a great investment, guys. I think times are going to get rough. All right. I'm just being real with you. Stock up. Get your stockpile ready today. All right. 4patriots.com. Use the promo code Carl. Appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.